good.
Dornbush Download 200. So Andrew, of course, and with me today is His Worship the Mayor, Paul Antonio. Paul, thank you for joining us this morning.
Yeah, thanks for coming to my office, and I'm great to be part of this, the 200th. I watch you occasionally.
And as you know, normally we sort of have someone talking about international issues or even national issues. Today, celebrating our 200th anniversary, we thought it'd be a great opportunity to have a chat to you, Paul, about all the great stuff that's happening in our region. And I think it's really easy to sort of gloss over what's actually going on here and not really have a concept as to all the exciting things that are happening in our region. So it'll be a great opportunity in the next 3 minutes 30, as Lindsay's counting us down, as to what's going on here. So can we maybe start with how big is the Toowoomba economy?
Well, the Toowoomba economy, the Toowoomba Regional Council Area's economy has just busted through 10 billion. And that represented a 6.2% increase in the last 12 months up until June 30, 2017.
That's huge.
That is huge, and that is far ahead of where it's ever been. But the good part about it is that this economy is stable. In the last 10 years, it's increased by 3.6% per year on average for 10 years. Consider that against the national and the state average of 2.1. We are really doing well, and we are rapidly becoming a real powerhouse, not only in Queensland, but in Australia.
And what do you put that sort of 50% doing better against not only the state but indeed the nation? What are some of the building blocks that you think are doing that for us?
Well, I think it's being done by many local people who are investing, and let's look at things like the airport, look at things like the data centre, where local people have tremendous confidence in the future of this area. They do not have to invest in Toowoomba, but they choose to invest in Toowoomba. The breadth of our economy here gives us our stability, and the investment that's coming our way, particularly out of the public sector, is around about 60% of the investment here. 40%, which is critical, I think, coming out of the private sector, which I absolutely love. It's the power of the chequebook, the decisions that are made by families like the Wagners and the Gardners and many others that drive this community forward. It is the breadth of our economy that gives us its stability, the stability of health and education, the power of export. 60% of what goes out of the Port of Brisbane is generated normally in this area, within 200 k's of Toowoomba, and it makes its way on, of course, antiquated infrastructure on the way to the port. That will be solved soon. But we as a council are a major player. We employ 1,700 people and have a budget of some $500 million. It's a major organisation, and I'm very proud to lead it.
Indeed. So if you look at, if the Toowoomba region was an ASX company, so bringing it back to our world, I mean, it'd be certainly top 20, and, having Chairman Paul at the helm. But it really does show the significance of what we're doing here. And you travel a great deal. I travel around a bit. And every time it's like you in Toowoomba have got some great things going on. What do you sort of see from a future point of view? What are a couple of things that are exciting you if you're sort of looking over the horizon?
Well, I think there's a snowballing effect here. The investment that we've seen both publicly and privately will generate a lot more. In the not too distant future, we'll be talking about the impact of the inland rail. There's a $5 billion spend in this region alone. Of course, we've got to dig through the hill, but there's a lot more to it than that. There's opportunity. And, one of the great things that leaders can leave is a good legacy. And I think this particular council and in this term and the previous term has generated long-term sustainable jobs, and that's really positive stuff.
Oh, indeed. And again, I know that the Toowoomba Regional Council played a pivotal role relating to the second range crossing and the advocacy work, bringing all the players together and sealing the deal. The signs as you were going down the range, we're getting pretty close to that. That's going to have some pretty significant impact, not only economically, but in my neck of the woods, and we live near each other, not next to each other, thankfully. But all those trucks going along the highway every day. There's a significant amount of safety issues that will be dealt with that as well.
Yes, I live within a couple of hundred metres, I guess, of the current range crossing, and those engine brakes bother me sometimes at 4 a.m. in the morning when the boys are getting going. But in saying that, this will make a profound difference to the livability of anything in that general direction of that Warrego Highway, James Street. Those trucks won't need those 18 sets of lights. I think it will be a major push forward for Toowoomba. But there's so many things happening at so many levels. And when you talk about the airport, I think the Wagners did an amazing job in building the airport. But there's something that's not measured that they did. They gave this community confidence in itself. They gave us self-belief. And I may use the can-do term if I can. But we are now a community that believes in itself. We can do things.
And I think you are spot on. That sort of enabling. There was a groundswell, but we just needed, the final piece of the puzzle. 200 odd million of their own money, really helping us in that regard.
Look, I'm confident about the future of Toowoomba. I think the economy here is very strong. It's very broad. It's a great place to invest. Anyone who invests here doesn't have to fear the peaks and troughs of the areas where the economy is narrow. And I think Toowoomba is just the best place to live now and well into the future.
Well, Paul, on behalf of Dornbush Partners, and in fact, I'm sure I can speak for a lot of the viewers, we really appreciate the leadership that you're showing in our region. Keep up the great work. Thanks very much.
Thank you, and I hope that when the time comes that I'm remembered for being positive.